Derek Roberts stares at the notification on his wrist pad, heart pounding. The United Earth government has assigned him an alien companion, an iconian beauty, as part of the Intergalactic Companionship Initiative. The year is 2170, and humanity's reach extends beyond Earth. Derek, a 28-year-old aerospace engineer from New Houston, finds himself caught in a social experiment that will reshape society. He stands before the towering Houston Alien Integration Center, a gleaming structure of metal and glass designed to process millions of alien arrivals. Security personnel usher Derek through a series of checkpoints. DNA scanners confirm his identity, while psychological evaluations probe his mental state. He observes hundreds of humans meeting their alien partners. Some beam with excitement, others shift uncomfortably. Processing Station 17, a robotic voice announces. Derek's palms sweat as he approaches the designated area. His breath catches in his throat as he lays eyes on Kira for the first time. Kira stands tall and statuesque, her iridescent blue skin shimmering under the harsh lights. Large almond-shaped eyes lock onto Derek's. Suddenly, a voice echoes in his mind. "Greetings, Derek Roberts. I am Kira, your assigned companion." Derek recoils, startled by the telepathic communication. Security personnel tense, hands moving to their weapons. Kira raises her hands in a placating gesture. "I apologize," she says aloud. "In Iconian culture, telepathic communication is a sign of respect and intimacy. I did not mean to cause alarm." Derek nods, struggling to reconcile his attraction to Kira's otherworldly beauty with his distrust of the government's motives. As they complete the necessary paperwork, he learns of Kira's advanced degrees in xenobiology and quantum mechanics. "You're a scientist?" Derek asks, feeling a mix of admiration and insecurity. Kira nods. "Yes, I hope my knowledge will be of use during our time together." The processing officer clears his throat. "As per the initiative's guidelines, Kira will reside with you for a mandatory 1-year period. Do you understand and accept these terms?" Derek hesitates, the full weight of this new reality crashing down on him. He glances at Kira, her alien features both enticing and unsettling. With a deep breath, he nods. "I understand and accept." As they exit the facility, now legally bound as companions, Derek's mind races. What does the future hold for this human-alien pair? How will this unprecedented social experiment reshape society? And most importantly, can Derek overcome his reservations and form a genuine connection with his assigned alien beauty? The answers to these questions lie in the year ahead, as Derek and Kira navigate the complexities of their new relationship in a world forever changed by the Intergalactic Companionship Initiative. As Derek and Kira stepped out of the Houston Alien Integration Center, the bustling cityscape of New Houston stretched before them. Towering skyscrapers with sleek, curved lines reach toward the sky, their surfaces shimmering with holographic displays and alien-inspired architecture. "This way," Derek said, gesturing towards a nearby hover taxi station. "We'll head to my apartment first." Kira nodded, her large eyes taking in the sights around her. As they boarded the taxi, Derek couldn't help but notice the curious glances from other passengers. He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, hyper-aware of Kira's presence beside him. The journey to Derek's high-rise apartment was mercifully short. As they entered the building, a soothing voice greeted them. "Welcome home, Derek Roberts. Alien integration protocol initiated." Derek glanced at Kira, gauging her reaction. "That's Aida, my AI home assistant." Kira's eyes widened with interest. "Fascinating. Your artificial intelligence seems quite advanced." As they stepped into the apartment, Derek watched nervously as Kira explored the space. Her slender blue fingers traced the edges of his furniture, lingering on the holographic display unit in the living room. "Your dwelling is intriguing," Kira said, her voice tinged with genuine curiosity. Derek cleared his throat. "Listen, I know this is all a bit strange. Maybe we could, I don't know, go out? I could show you around the city if you'd like." Kira's face brightened. "I would very much enjoy that, Derek." As they ventured out into New Houston, Derek found himself playing tour guide. They visited the reimagined Space Center, now a hub for interstellar travel, and strolled through the galactic gardens where Earth flora intermingled with exotic alien plants. Their final stop was the Museum of Earth Alien History. As they stood before a holographic display of the first contact between humans and iconians in 2150, Derek felt a mixture of awe and unease. "I remember studying this in school," he murmured. "It's surreal to think about how much has changed in just 20 years. Kira nodded solemnly. "Our peoples have come far, but there is still much to learn from each other." As they exited the museum, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of protesters carrying anti-alien signs began shouting angrily, "Humans only! Aliens, go home!" Derek instinctively stepped in front of Kira as one protester lunged forward. He pushed the man back, his heart racing. "Back off!" Derek shouted, surprising himself with the intensity in his voice. Security drones quickly dispersed the crowd, but the incident left Derek shaken. He turned to Kira, concern etched on his face. "Are you all right?" Kira's expression softened. "I am unharmed thanks to you. Your protective instinct is admirable." As they made their way back to the apartment, Derek's wrist pad buzzed with an incoming call. It was his best friend, Mike Thompson. "Hey, Derek, how's it going with your new alien roomie? Listen, Lyra and I are throwing a little welcome party at O'Malley's tonight. You two should come." Derek glanced at Kira, who nodded encouragingly. "Sure, Mike. We'll be there." O'Malley's bar had been transformed into a hub of interspecies socialization. Holographic menus displayed drinks suitable for various alien physiologies, while the music seamlessly blended Earth and alien rhythms. Derek watched as Mike and his iconian companion Lyra chatted animatedly at the bar. Their easy rapport made Derek acutely aware of his own awkwardness with Kira. As the night progressed, the group moved to Nebula, a nearby dance club known for its alien-enhanced light shows. The interior pulsed with energy, bioluminescent patterns swirling across the walls and ceiling. Derek hung back, content to observe, but Kira had other ideas. She took his hand, her touch sending an unexpected jolt through him. "Come, Derek. Let us dance." On the dance floor, surrounded by a mix of humans and aliens, moving to the otherworldly beats, Derek found himself drawn into Kira's rhythm. Her movements were fluid and graceful, her iridescent skin catching the light in mesmerizing ways. As they danced, the awkwardness between them began to melt away. Suddenly, a deafening siren cut through the music. Emergency lights flashed and a robotic voice blared over the speakers. "Attention! This is not a drill. Earth is under attack. Please proceed to the nearest shelter immediately." Panic erupted in the club. Derek grabbed Kira's hand, his mind racing. Through the chaos, he caught glimpses of sleek, dark ships descending from the sky. Ships that were definitely not of Earth or iconian design. "Zorgons," Kira breathed, her voice filled with dread. As they pushed their way out of the club, Derek and Kira found themselves separated from Mike and Lyra. The streets were in chaos, people running in all directions as Zorgon ships loomed overhead, firing strange energy weapons that disabled vehicles and shorted out power grids. Derek's training as an aerospace engineer kicked in. He analyzed the Zorgon ship's movements, noting their attack patterns. "We need to get to a safe house," he shouted over the din. "There's one not far from here. Follow me." As they navigated the panicked streets, they came across a group of civilians trapped beneath a collapsed storefront. Without hesitation, Derek and Kira worked together to free them, their teamwork seamless despite their short acquaintance. As they neared the safe house, Kira grabbed Derek's arm. "Derek, I have information about the Zorgons. Weaknesses we discovered during previous conflicts. This knowledge could be crucial in defending Earth." Derek stared at her, the implications sinking in. They weren't just running for safety anymore. They were potentially carrying vital intelligence that could turn the tide of this unexpected war. They reached the safe house, a nondescript building with reinforced walls and a hidden entrance. Inside, they found a mix of humans and aliens coordinating a response to the attack. Military personnel huddled around holographic displays, while civilian volunteers tended to the injured. A gruff-looking colonel approached them. "We're forming a special task force to counter this Zorgon invasion. We need all the help we can get." Derek looked at Kira, seeing his own tenacity reflected in her alien eyes. In that moment, their shared purpose transcended their differences. We're in, Derek said, his voice firm. As they were ushered deeper into the safe house for briefing, Derek realized that his life had irrevocably changed. The year ahead would be nothing like he had imagined, but with Kira by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Derek and Kira were ushered deeper into the safe house, the chaos of the Zorgon invasion faded behind thick, reinforced walls. The corridor opened into a bustling command center, where holographic displays flickered with real-time battle information. Colonel James Harper, a battle-hardened veteran with a stern countenance, approached them. "Roberts, we've been briefed on your engineering background. And you," he nodded to Kira, "apparently have crucial intel on our new enemy. You're both being assigned to a special task force. We need every advantage we can get." Derek and Kira exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. They had come here seeking shelter, but now found themselves thrust into the heart of Earth's defense. "Sir," Derek said, straightening his posture, "we're ready to help in any way we can." The colonel led them to a tactical table where a diverse group of humans and iconians had gathered. "Listen up, people. Our primary objective is to disable the Zorgon command ship that's landed just outside New Houston. It's coordinating the entire invasion fleet. Take it out, and we might just have a chance." As the colonel outlined the plan, Derek found himself impressed by the seamless cooperation between humans and iconians. It was a stark contrast to the protesters they'd encountered earlier that day. "Roberts, you and Kira will be part of the infiltration team," Harper continued. "Your engineering skills and her knowledge of Zorgon weaknesses make you ideal for this mission." The next few hours were a whirlwind of preparation. Derek and Kira, along with 4 other human Iconian pairs, underwent crash courses in combat techniques and zero-gravity maneuvering. During a simulated weightless exercise, Derek found himself pressed against Kira, her iridescent skin mere inches from his face. He felt a jolt of electricity run through him, a mixture of adrenaline and something more primal. As night fell, the infiltration team gathered near the safe house's exit. They were outfitted with sleek black combat suits and armed with an array of human and Iconian weapons. Kira handed Derek a small device. "Iconian cloaking technology," she explained. "It will keep us hidden from Zorgon sensors." They moved silently through the war-torn streets of New Houston, the Zorgon ships looming ominously overhead. As they approached the outskirts of the city, the massive form of the Zorgon command ship came into view. Its dark chitinous surface seemed to absorb the surrounding light. Suddenly, Kira grabbed Derek's arm. Her eyes widened, and he felt a faint whisper in his mind. "Patrol, ahead!" No sooner had she warned them than a group of Zorgon soldiers rounded a corner. The infiltration team sprang into action. Derek and Kira moved in perfect synchronization, their recent training paying off. Derek ducked low, sweeping the legs out from under one Zorgon, while Kira delivered a precise strike to another's weak point. The skirmish was over in moments, with the Zorgon subdued and no alarm raised. Derek caught Kira's eye, both of them breathing heavily. There was a new depth to their connection, forged in the heat of battle. Using their cloaking devices, the team slipped aboard the Zorgon ship through a maintenance hatch. Inside, the alien architecture was a disorienting maze of organic-looking corridors and pulsating biotech. The air felt thick and carried a faintly acrid scent. Colonel Harper's voice crackled in their earpieces. "Team, split up as planned. Roberts, Kira, proceed to the central computer core." As they navigated deeper into the ship, they encountered pockets of toxic atmosphere and sudden gravity shifts. Kira's telepathic abilities proved invaluable, allowing them to avoid Zorgon patrols with uncanny precision. They finally reached the computer core, a massive chamber filled with twisting conduits and pulsing energy fields. But it wasn't unguarded. A dozen Zorgon technicians worked at various stations, with armed guards patrolling the perimeter. Derek's mind raced, analyzing the layout of the room and the ship's systems. He leaned close to Kira, his lips nearly brushing her ear. "I have an idea. Can you hack into that terminal over there? I think we can use their own systems as a diversion." Kira nodded, her large eyes reflecting the pulsing lights of the core. As she worked on the terminal, Derek kept watch. Suddenly, a Zorgon technician rounded a corner, spotting them. Derek reacted on instinct, tackling the alien before it could raise an alarm. They grappled fiercely, the Zorgon's superior strength nearly overwhelming Derek. He caught glimpses of Kira working furiously at the terminal as he fought. With a surge of desperation, Derek managed to lock the Zorgon in a chokehold, finally subduing it. "Now, Derek," Kira called out. Derek slammed his hand down on the terminal, activating their improvised diversion. Alarms blared throughout the ship, and the Zorgons in the core rushed to respond to the false emergency. Taking advantage of the chaos, Derek and Kira fought their way to the central computer. Kira's fingers flew over the alien interface while Derek worked to bypass the security protocols. They worked in tandem, their bodies close in the confined space. Derek could feel the heat radiating from Kira's skin, smell the faint, exotic scent that was uniquely hers. Just as victory seemed within reach, a hissing sound filled the air. Paralyzing gas began to pour into the room. Derek saw Kira's movements begin to slow, her species more susceptible to the effects. Without hesitation, Derek positioned himself between Kira and the gas vents. "Finish it!" he shouted, using his body to shield her. Kira worked frantically as Derek felt his limbs growing heavy. His vision began to blur, but he forced himself to stay upright, to keep protecting Kira for those crucial extra seconds. As darkness closed in, Derek felt himself falling. The last thing he saw was Kira's face, her large eyes filled with concern and something else. Something deeper. Then he felt a presence in his mind. Kira's telepathic touch enveloped him, holding back the encroaching unconsciousness. In that moment, their minds intertwined in a way that transcended physical intimacy. Memories, fears, and unspoken desires flowed between them. Through the haze of the mental link, Derek sensed the ship powering down around them. They had succeeded, but the battle was a long way to go, being over. The ship's systems continued to power down around them, a testament to their success. As consciousness returned, Derek found himself in a medical bay, the sterile smell of antiseptic filling his nostrils. He turned his head, wincing at the dull ache, to see Kira sitting beside him. Her large eyes met his, filled with relief and something deeper. "Welcome back," she said softly, her hand gently squeezing his. Over the next few days, as Earth celebrated its victory against the Zorgon invasion, Derek and Kira found themselves thrust into the spotlight. The United Earth government, quick to capitalize on their success, paraded them as shining examples of human iconian cooperation. Returning to Derek's apartment in New Houston, now a symbol of hope in the ongoing conflict, they were granted a brief respite from their duties. The city around them buzzed with renewed energy, its streets and skyscrapers slowly coming back to life after the attack. Inside the apartment, Derek and Kira stood awkwardly, the weight of their shared experiences hanging between them. The mental connection they had formed during the mission lingered, an invisible thread binding them together. "I guess we should talk about what happened," Derek said, breaking the silence. Kira nodded, her iridescent skin shimmering in the dim light. "The mission or the other thing?" Before Derek could respond, a holographic news broadcast flickered to life in the living room. Their faces filled the screen, accompanied by footage of their heroic actions during the Zorgon attack. "The Intergalactic Companionship Initiative's star couple continues to inspire hope," the announcer's voice boomed. "Derek Roberts and Kira, the human iconian pair who turned the tide against the Zorgon invasion, show us the true potential of our united future." Derek switched off the broadcast, running a hand through his hair. "It's strange, isn't it? This whole thing started as an assignment, and now—" Kira moved closer, her alien features softening. "Now it feels like something more." The tension between them was palpable, electric. Derek found himself drawn to her, memories of their mental intimacy flooding back. Just as he leaned in, his communicator buzzed urgently. "Roberts," Colonel Harper's gruff voice came through. "You and Kira need to report to the Houston Alien Integration Center immediately. We have a situation." Exchanging a look of mingled frustration and curiosity, Derek and Kira made their way to the center. They were escorted to a high-security facility beneath the building, where Colonel Harper waited with a grim expression. "We have a Zorgon defector," Harper explained, leading them into a dimly lit room. "Says he has crucial information about the invasion force, but he'll only speak to you two." Inside, they found a Zorgon named Zax, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights. As Derek and Kira sat across from him, Zax's compound eyes focused on them with unnerving intensity. "What I'm about to tell you will change everything," Zax began, his voice a low rasp. "The Zorgon invasion was not of our own making. It was orchestrated by a rogue faction within the Iconian government." The words hit Derek like a physical blow. He turned to Kira, searching her face for any sign of prior knowledge or deception. Her expression mirrored his own shock and disbelief. "That's impossible," Kira said, her voice trembling. "Our people would never—" Zax interrupted, producing a small data crystal. "This contains evidence of a hidden Iconian base on Mars. It serves as the command center for the rogue faction." As Colonel Harper reviewed the data, Derek felt a cold knot forming in his stomach. The trust he had built with Kira, the connection they shared, suddenly felt fragile and uncertain. "I had no knowledge of this," Kira insisted, her large eyes pleading with Derek to believe her. Before he could respond, Colonel Harper turned to them, his face set in steadfast perseverance. "We need to investigate this immediately. Despite the complications, you two are still our best option for this mission. Your familiarity with both human and Iconian technology makes you uniquely qualified." Over the next weeks, Derek and Kira underwent intensive training for the Mars mission. They learned Martian survival techniques and advanced infiltration tactics, all while grappling with the newfound mistrust between them. During a simulated Martian dust storm exercise, Derek and Kira found themselves trapped in a small shelter. The close quarters forced them to confront the issues that had been simmering since Zax's revelation. "How can I trust you?" Derek asked, his voice barely audible over the howling wind outside. Kira's eyes shimmered with emotion. "I've hidden nothing from you, Derek. When we connected during the Zorgon mission, you saw everything. My mind was open to you completely." The reminder of their mental intimacy sent a shiver through Derek. He remembered the flood of memories, fears, and desires they had shared. In that moment, the last of his doubts crumbled away. Without a word, he pulled Kira close. Their lips met in a passionate kiss, months of tension finally breaking. As they explored each other with urgency and tenderness, the simulated storm raged on outside, unnoticed. Their newfound closeness was tested almost immediately. As the launch date for the Mars mission approached, Earth's defense forces detected another wave of Zorgon ships entering the solar system. Standing on the launch pad, the sleek form of their stealth ship looming behind them, Derek and Kira exchanged a determined look. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, but they faced the challenge united. As they boarded the ship with their team of human and Iconian special forces, Derek felt a mix of anticipation and dread. The journey to Mars would be perilous, but the real danger lay in what they might discover on the red planet's surface. The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them towards the stars. As Earth shrank behind them, Derek reached for Kira's hand. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The journey to Mars was tense and fraught with anticipation. As their stealth ship approached the red planet, Derek and Kira prepared their team for the dangerous mission ahead. The evidence provided by Zax had led them to the coordinates of the hidden Iconian base, nestled within the towering cliffs of Valles Marineris. Using advanced cloaking technology, they landed their ship in a narrow ravine near the base's suspected location. The team donned their Mars-adapted environmental suits and exited the craft, the rusty Martian landscape stretching out before them. Derek activated his suit's scanner, sweeping the area for any signs of the hidden entrance. Kira closed her eyes, reaching out with her telepathic abilities to sense any nearby presences. After several tense minutes, she touched Derek's arm and pointed to a seemingly innocuous rock formation. "There," she whispered through their helmet comms. "I sense activity behind that wall." Derek nodded, signaling the team to approach cautiously. As they neared the formation, a hidden panel slid open, revealing a sleek alien corridor. The team exchanged glances, then entered the base with weapons at the ready. The interior of the base was a stark contrast to the harsh Martian environment outside. Smooth, pearlescent walls pulsed with an inner light, and the air hummed with energy. Derek felt a chill run down his spine as they moved deeper into the facility, the enormity of their mission weighing heavily upon him. As they rounded a corner, they encountered their first resistance. Two Iconian guards, their iridescent skin shimmering under the base's lights, raised their weapons. Derek and Kira moved in perfect sync, their recent training and mental connection allowing them to take down the guards with swift, non-lethal strikes. "We need to find the central chamber," Derek said, his voice low. "If there's a weapon here, that's where it'll be." The team moved quickly through the winding corridors, dispatching any resistance they encountered with practiced efficiency. As they neared the heart of the base, the hum of energy grew louder, vibrating through the soles of their boots. Finally, they reached a massive set of doors. Derek placed his hand on the cool metal surface, feeling the power thrumming beneath. He looked at Kira, who nodded grimly. With a deep breath, he activated the door controls. The central chamber opened before them, a vast space dominated by a colossal energy weapon aimed directly at a holographic projection of Earth. The sight of their home planet in the weapon's crosshairs sent a jolt of fear through the team. At the base of the weapon stood a tall, imposing iconian with deep violet skin. He turned to face them, his eyes narrowing as he took in the intruders. "Ah, the famous Derek and Kira," he said, his voice smooth and cold. "I've been expecting you. I am Zorn, and you're just in time to witness the culmination of my grand plan." Derek stepped forward, his hand tightening on his weapon. "It's over, Zorn. We know about your conspiracy with the Zorgons. Stand down, and we can end this peacefully." Zorn laughed, the sound echoing through the chamber. "Peace? That's precisely what I'm trying to prevent. You see, this weapon isn't just a tool of destruction. It's the key to reshaping the balance of power in our galaxy." As Zorn continued his monologue, Derek's eyes darted around the room, analyzing the weapon's structure. He noticed a series of cooling pipes running along its base, their joints showing signs of strain from the immense energy coursing through them. Derek's mind raced, formulating a plan. He reached out to Kira through their telepathic link, sharing his observations and intentions without saying a word. Kira's eyes widened slightly in understanding, and she subtly nodded. "But why?" Kira asked, drawing Zorn's attention. "Why betray your own people and risk interplanetary war?" As Zorn launched into an impassioned explanation of his twisted vision for Iconian supremacy, Derek slowly edged toward the weapon's control panel. His fingers flew over the alien interface, making minute adjustments to the power flow. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber. Zorn's head snapped towards Derek, his eyes blazing with fury. "Guards!" he roared. "Eliminate them!" Chaos erupted as Iconian soldiers poured into the room. Derek and Kira sprang into action, their movements perfectly coordinated. They ducked and weaved through the barrage of energy blasts, taking down guards with precision strikes. Their team engaged the bulk of the Iconian forces, the chamber filled with the sound of weapons fire and shouted commands. Through it all, Derek and Kira fought their way towards Zorn, who had rushed to the weapon's main controls. "You're too late," Zorn snarled, his fingers dancing over the console. "Once this weapon fires, Earth will be crippled, and the age of Iconian dominance will begin." Derek lunged at Zorn, tackling him away from the controls. They grappled fiercely, Derek's combat training allowing him to hold his own against the physically superior Iconian. Zorn's fist connected with Derek's jaw, sending him staggering back. As Zorn advanced, his eyes gleaming with malice, Kira reached out with her mind. She focused her telepathic energy, projecting a wave of disorientation towards Zorn. The Iconian leader faltered, his movements becoming uncoordinated. Derek seized the opportunity, delivering a powerful kick that sent Zorn crashing to the ground. In moments, he had the Iconian subdued and restrained. With Zorn neutralized, Derek rushed back to the weapon's controls. The chamber shook as the device reached critical levels, threatening to overload. Derek's hands flew over the interface, his engineering knowledge pushed to its limits as he worked to safely power down the massive weapon. Come on," he muttered, sweat beading on his forehead inside his helmet. With a final command, the weapon's energy signature began to fade. The chamber grew quiet as the hum of power died away. Derek let out a shaky breath, Turning to Kira with a relieved smile, she moved towards him, her eyes shining with a mix of exhaustion and elation. As they drew closer, their bodies gravitating towards each other, Derek's communicator crackled to life. "Roberts, report!" Colonel Harper's voice cut through the moment. "What's your status?" Derek stepped back, clearing his throat. "Mission accomplished, Colonel. The weapon has been neutralized and we have Zorn in custody. We've also secured data files that should expose the full extent of the conspiracy." "Excellent work," Harper replied. "But we're not out of the woods yet. The situation back on Earth is complicated. The revelation of the Iconian conspiracy has caused significant unrest. You and Kira need to return immediately to help manage the fallout." As the communication ended, Derek and Kira shared a look of concern. Their victory on Mars suddenly felt overshadowed by the challenges that awaited them back home. "We should secure the prisoners and gather all the evidence we can," Kira said, her voice tinged with worry. "We'll need every bit of information to navigate the political storm that's brewing." Derek nodded, already feeling the weight of their next mission settling onto his shoulders. As they moved to rejoin their team and prepare for the journey home, he couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest test was yet to come. The return flight to Earth loomed before them, carrying not just the team and their prisoners, but the fate of human-alien relations. As the ship lifted off from the Martian surface, Derek and Kira stood side by side in the cockpit, watching the red planet shrink behind them. The blue marble of Earth grew larger in the view screen, beautiful yet now fraught with uncertainty. Uncertainty. As they approached Earth's atmosphere, Derek and Kira exchanged a worried glance. Their fingers intertwined. The ship touched down on the landing pad in New Houston, the cityscape a stark contrast to the desolate Martian landscape they had left behind. As the hatch opened, they were immediately hit by a wave of noise, shouting, sirens, and the distant roar of crowds. Colonel Harper was waiting for them, his face grim. "We need to move quickly," he said, ushering them towards an armored vehicle. "The situation has deteriorated rapidly since your last communication." As they sped through the streets, Derek and Kira saw firsthand the chaos that had engulfed the city. Protesters filled the sidewalks, many carrying signs with anti-alien slogans. Clashes between demonstrators and police were visible at nearly every intersection. What happened?" Derek asked, his eyes wide as he took in the scene. Harper's eyes hardened. "Word of the Iconian conspiracy leaked. It sparked a powder keg of anti-alien sentiment that's been building for months." They arrived at the United Earth Government headquarters, a towering structure of glass and steel that seemed to pierce the sky. As they exited the vehicle, a surge of protesters rushed towards them, held back only by a thin line of security personnel. "Traitors," as someone shouted. "Alien lovers." Derek instinctively moved closer to Kira, shielding her with his body as they hurried inside. The stark contrast between the chaos outside and the hushed, tense atmosphere within the building was jarring. They were immediately escorted to the main council chamber, where the emergency meeting was already underway. As they entered, all eyes turned to them, a mixture of hope and suspicion evident on the faces of the assembled leaders. "Commander Roberts, Agent Kira," the UEG president greeted them, her voice strained. "We need your full report immediately." For the next hour, Derek and Kira presented their findings, detailing the extent of the Iconian conspiracy and the list of collaborators on both planets. As they spoke, the room erupted into heated debates, accusations flying back and forth. "This is precisely why we should never have allowed aliens on our planet," one counselor shouted, thumping his hand on the table. "And what of the human collaborators?" another countered. "Are we to mistrust our own species as well?" As the arguments escalated, Derek noticed a group of Iconian civilians being escorted past the chamber, fear evident in their eyes. He nudged Kira, who nodded in understanding. "Excuse us," Derek said, cutting through the din, "but there's something we need to attend to." They slipped out of the chamber, following the group of Iconians. As they reached the building's entrance, they saw a mob of protesters surging forward, overwhelming the security personnel. Derek and Kira sprang into action, positioning themselves between the civilians and the advancing crowd. They worked in tandem, Derek using his combat training to physically hold back the attackers, while Kira employed her telepathic abilities to calm and disorient the most aggressive individuals. "Stay behind us," Derek shouted to the terrified Iconians, deflecting a thrown object with his arm. Kira's eyes glowed as she projected waves of calming energy into the crowd. "We mean you no harm," she called out. "We are all victims of the same deception." Their display of unity and protection slowly began to have an effect. Some protesters backed away, confusion replacing anger on their faces. Others lowered their makeshift weapons, uncertainty creeping into their expressions. As reinforcements arrived to secure the area, Derek and Kira ushered the Iconian civilians to safety. They shared a look of relief, both realizing the impact of what they had just done. Their moment of respite was short-lived, however. An aide rushed up to them, breathless. "The council has reached a decision," she said. "They're announcing it now." They hurried back to the council chamber, arriving just as the UEG president stepped up to the podium. Her face was grave as she addressed the room and the cameras broadcasting to the world. "In light of recent events, the United Earth government has decided to temporarily suspend the Intergalactic Companionship Initiative," she announced. "All Iconian companions are hereby ordered to report to designated containment facilities for questioning and processing." The words hit Kira like a physical blow. Derek felt her stiffen beside him, her hand gripping his arm tightly. "No," he whispered, his mind racing. He couldn't let them take Kira away, not after everything they'd been through. He stepped forward, raising his voice to be heard over the commotion in the chamber. "Madam President," he called out, drawing all eyes to him, "I request special dispensation for Agent Kira. Her skills and knowledge are invaluable to our ongoing investigation. I propose that she remain under my direct supervision." The president hesitated, her eyes darting between Derek and Kira. After a moment of tense silence, she nodded. "Given your recent service and unique position, Commander Roberts, your request is granted. Agent Kira will remain in your custody." As the announcement concluded and the council members began to disperse, Derek and Kira found themselves approached by a stern-looking woman in a nondescript suit. "Commander Roberts, Agent Kira," she said, her voice low. "I'm Director Chen of the newly formed Interspecies Intelligence Agency. We have a proposition for you both." Derek and Kira exchanged a glance, sensing that their journey was nowhere near the end. As they followed Director Chen to a private room, they knew that the challenges ahead would test not only their skills, but also the very foundation of human-alien relations. The door closed behind them, sealing them into a new chapter of their intertwined destinies. As the door closed behind them, Derek and Kira found themselves facing Director Chen across a sleek conference table. "I'll be brief," Chen said, her voice crisp. "We need your unique skills to help stabilize the current crisis. But first, we need to ensure Agent Kira's safety." Before either could respond, alarms blared throughout the building. Chen's communicator crackled to life, relaying reports of an attack on the facility. "Damn it," Chen muttered. "We need to move. Now!" They rushed through the corridors, the sounds of combat growing closer. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a group of armed assailants. Derek reacted instantly, tackling Kira to the ground as energy blasts scorched the air above them. In the ensuing firefight, Derek took a glancing hit to his side. He stumbled, grimacing in pain. Kira pulled him into an alcove, her eyes wide with concern. "We need to get you out of here," she said, her voice tight with worry. They made their way to a nearby safe house, Chen providing cover fire as they retreated. Once inside, Kira examined Derek's wound, her face pale. "It's worse than I thought," she said. I might be able to help, but it's risky." Derek met her gaze, understanding dawning in his eyes. "The experimental iconian healing technique?" Kira nodded. "It's never been attempted between our species before. The psychic link it creates, it could change everything between us." Derek took her hand, his decision made. "Do it!" Kira placed her hands on either side of Derek's face, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. As she initiated the healing process, their minds began to merge. The sensation was overwhelming. Derek felt himself falling into Kira's consciousness, memories and emotions swirling around him like a tempest. He saw flashes of her childhood on Iconia, felt the loneliness of being different, the joy of discovery as she honed her abilities. Kira, in turn, experienced Derek's life. The strict military upbringing, the thrill of piloting, the weight of responsibility he carried. Their shared experiences in the Intergalactic Companionship Initiative took on new depth as they relived them from each other's perspectives. As the healing progressed, their minds intertwined further. Thoughts and feelings flowed between them like water, creating a connection deeper than anything they had ever known. They explored this shared mental landscape, marveling at the beauty and complexity of their combined consciousness. Hours passed in the physical world as Derek and Kira remained locked in their psychic embrace. Outside the safe house, an IIA rescue team led by Derek's friend Mike and his iconian companion Lyra arrived, securing the perimeter and monitoring their vital signs. As Derek's body healed, he and Kira began to sense the world around them once more. They opened their eyes simultaneously, gazing at each other with a newfound understanding. "I can still feel you," Derek whispered, awe in his voice. "In my mind." Kira nodded, a smile playing at her lips. "We're connected now, in a way no human and iconian have ever been before." Their moment of wonder was interrupted as Mike burst into the room, his face a mix of relief and urgency. "Thank God you're both all right," he said. "But we've got a situation. We found evidence linking the attack to Senator Marcus Graves. He's been working with the Iconian conspirators all along." Derek and Kira exchanged a glance, a silent conversation passing between them in an instant. They stood moving in perfect synchronization. "Brief us on the way," Derek said. "We're ready to end this." As they left the safe house, Derek and Kira marveled at their new ability to communicate silently, sharing thoughts and sensations even as they focused on the mission ahead. They knew that this unprecedented bond would raise questions and concerns, but for now they had a conspiracy to unravel and two worlds to save. The IIA team moved swiftly through the city, using back alleys and underground passages to avoid detection. Derek and Kira's enhanced connection proved invaluable, allowing them to coordinate their movements flawlessly and anticipate potential threats before they materialized. As they approached the spaceport where Senator Graves was reportedly preparing to flee, Derek and Kira sensed a trap. Without a word spoken between them, they signaled to the team to hold position. Using their shared consciousness, they formulated a plan, combining Derek's tactical knowledge with Kira's understanding of Iconian technology. "Mike," Derek said, his voice low, "we need a distraction at the main entrance. Kira and I will infiltrate through the maintenance tunnels." Mike nodded, understanding the unspoken depths of their strategy. As he led the team to create a diversion, Derek and Kira slipped away, moving as one through the shadows. They navigated the complex network of tunnels with ease, their shared senses allowing them to avoid security patrols and bypass alarm systems. As they neared the private docking bay where Graves' ship waited, they encountered a group of Iconian conspirators. Without hesitation, Derek and Kira sprang into action. Their movements were a perfect dance of human and alien abilities, each anticipating and complementing the other's actions. Energy blasts from Iconian weapons sizzled past them as they weaved through the air, taking down their opponents with precision strikes. As the last conspirator fell, they heard the whine of engines powering up. They rushed into the docking bay just as Senator Graves' ship began to lift off. "We can't let him escape," Kira thought, the words echoing in Derek's mind. Derek nodded, already formulating a plan. Together they raced towards the ship, their enhanced connection allowing them to push their bodies to new limits. With a synchronized leap, they grabbed onto the ship's landing gear just as it cleared the bay doors. As the ship accelerated into the upper atmosphere, Derek and Kira clung to the metal struts, the wind howling around them. Using their combined knowledge of ship systems, they worked together to override the external hatch controls. The moment the hatch opened, they swung inside, catching Senator Graves by surprise. The politician reached for a weapon, but Derek and Kira moved faster, disarming him with a series of coordinated strikes. "It's over, Senator," Derek said, his voice firm. Graves slumped in defeat, the full weight of his actions finally settling upon him. As Kira secured the senator, Derek took control of the ship, guiding it back to Earth. As they descended through the atmosphere, Derek and Kira shared a moment of quiet reflection. Their unprecedented bond had not only saved them, but had also opened up new possibilities for human-iconian relations. They knew that challenges lay ahead: scientific scrutiny, political debates, and personal adjustments to their new reality. But they faced the future together, their minds and hearts intertwined in a union that transcended the boundaries of their species. The ship touched down at IIA headquarters, where a crowd of officials and reporters had gathered. As Derek and Kira emerged with their prisoner, cameras flashed and questions flew. They stood side by side, their hands clasped, a living symbol of what was possible when humans and Iconians truly came together. Director Chen approached, a rare smile on her face. "Excellent work, both of you, but I have a feeling this is just the beginning." Derek and Kira nodded, knowing that their journey, and the journey of their two peoples towards true understanding, was far from finished. As they prepared to face the questions and challenges ahead, they drew strength from their connection, ready to show the world the true potential of human-Iconian cooperation. Cooperation was far from finished. As they prepared to face the questions and challenges ahead, they drew strength from their connection, ready to show the world the true potential of human-Iconian collaboration. In the weeks that followed, Derek and Kira found themselves at the center of a whirlwind of activity. Their unprecedented bond and the successful capture of Senator Graves had thrust them into the spotlight, making them the face of a new era in interspecies relations. The United Earth government, recognizing the potential of their unique connection, tasked them with leading a revitalized intergalactic companionship initiative. Derek and Kira embraced this opportunity, pouring their combined knowledge and experiences into the creation of the Harmony Institute. As construction crews worked tirelessly to bring their vision to life, Derek and Kira spent countless hours in meetings and brainstorming sessions. Their mental link proved invaluable, allowing them to communicate complex ideas instantaneously and refine their plans with unparalleled efficiency. Finally, the day of the Harmony Institute's grand opening arrived. The sleek, modern building stood as a testament to the potential of human-Iconian cooperation. A diverse crowd of humans and Iconians gathered before the entrance, their excited chatter filling the air. Derek and Kira stood side by side on the stage, their hands clasped as they faced the assembled guests and media. With a shared nod, they stepped forward to address the crowd. "Welcome to the Harmony Institute," Derek began, his voice carrying across the plaza. "What you see before you is more than just a building. It's a symbol of what we can achieve when we come together across the stars to learn from one another." Kira continued seamlessly, her melodic voice blending with Derek's. "Today, we're not just opening doors to a new facility. We're opening doors to a future where humans and Iconians work side by side, sharing knowledge, culture, and understanding." As they spoke, their mental link hummed with shared excitement and purpose. They could feel the energy of the crowd, the hope and curiosity emanating from both humans and Iconians alike. With a dramatic flourish, Derek and Kira unveiled the Institute's crowning achievement, a sleek handheld device that glowed with a soft blue light. "This," Derek explained, holding the device aloft, "is the Empathy Bridge. It allows non-bonded human-Iconian pairs to experience a temporary telepathic connection, similar to what Kira and I share." A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. Kira stepped forward, her eyes scanning the assembled guests. "We'd like to invite 2 volunteers to demonstrate this technology. Who among you is ready to take the first step towards true interspecies understanding?" A young human woman and an Iconian male stepped onto the stage, their nervousness evident in their hesitant movements. Derek and Kira guided them to stand face to face, then carefully placed the empathy bridge between them. "Relax," Kira said softly, her voice soothing. "Open your minds to each other. The device will do the rest." As the volunteers closed their eyes, the empathy bridge began to pulse with a gentle light. The crowd watched in hushed anticipation, the air thick with tension. Suddenly, the human woman gasped, her eyes flying open. The Iconians' bioluminescent patches flared brightly. Their faces transformed from uncertainty to wonder as they gazed at each other. "I can feel his thoughts," the woman whispered, her voice filled with awe. "It's beautiful." The Iconian nodded, his voice trembling with emotion. I see her memories, her hopes. I understand her in a way I never thought possible. As the demonstration concluded, the crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Derek and Kira exchanged a proud glance, their own mental link thrumming with shared joy and accomplishment. In the days that followed, the Harmony Institute became a hub of activity. Humans and iconians from all walks of life flocked to the facility, eager to participate in cultural exchange programs and experience the empathy bridge for themselves. Derek and Kira found themselves busier than ever, overseeing research projects, conducting tours, and mediating discussions between human and Iconian scientists. Their unique bond allowed them to bridge gaps in communication and understanding that others struggled with, making them invaluable facilitators in this new era of cooperation. As the Institute's influence grew, so did its reach. Derek and Kira embarked on a global tour, visiting major cities around the world to promote interspecies cooperation and showcase the latest advancements in human Iconian technology. Their journey brought them to New Houston, where the reclaimed Zorgon command ship now stood as a museum dedicated to the conflict that had nearly torn their worlds apart. As they walked through the cavernous halls of the ship, surrounded by exhibits detailing the war and its aftermath, Derek and Kira reflected on how far they had come. It's hard to believe, Derek thought, the words flowing effortlessly through their mental link. Not long ago, we were enemies. Now look at us. Kira squeezed his hand, her response a warm pulse of agreement and affection in his mind. As they approached the ship's central data core, now repurposed as an interactive historical archive, something caught Kira's eye. Derek, she said aloud, her voice tinged with excitement, look at this data stream. The encryption, it's not Zorgon, it's something else entirely. Intrigued, they began to delve deeper into the mysterious data, their combined skills allowing them to bypass security protocols and access hidden files. As the information unfolded before them, their eyes widened in astonishment. This is incredible, Derek breathed, his mind racing with the implications of what they were seeing. It's not just about the Zorgons or the Iconians. There are other species out there, actively seeking peaceful contact with Earth and Iconia. Kira nodded, her excitement mirroring his own. We need to bring this to the UEG immediately. This could change everything. As they hurried from the museum, their minds buzzed with plans and possibilities. They knew that this discovery would open a new chapter not just in human-Iconian relations, but in the future of galactic diplomacy itself. The Intergalactic Companionship Initiative was about to become something far greater than they had ever imagined.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.